Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you today is an unboxing sent to my P.O. box from Canada. This was sent from Gord, but let's see what it is. Hi there, I'm Mike, what I have for you today is Star Wars The Black Series, Commander Wolffe. Yeah, there's nothing in here, I already opened it. Take a look at this picture while I read the bio on the back of the box. Clone Commander Wolffe, clone designation CC3636. Served in the Clone Wars as commander of the tight-knit unit known as the Wolffe Pack. A seasoned and battered combatant, Wolffe has witnessed some of the worst that war can offer. Despite tragedy, he fights on bravely, proudly brandishing his battle scars and instilling loyalty among his men. Here we go out of the box, and if you've been around my channel long enough to watch the review of Captain Rex, the HasCon exclusive version, I reviewed that sometime last year. This is going to be a very similar review, but with enough tweaks where I'm just going to give it the full treatment. This is a very faithful representation of Commander Wolffe in his Phase 2 armor from the Clone Wars. It's rendered more realistically than it showed up in the cartoon. He was featured semi-regularly. That's hard to say. He was featured semi-regularly. I cannot say that. Wow. He was featured semi-regularly in some of the best Clone Wars episodes. Which, if you haven't watched that yet, stop not watching the Clone Wars. Seriously, it gets pretty good. As stated in his bio, Commander Wolffe leads the aptly named Wolffe Pack under Jedi General Plo Koon, who incidentally was my favorite character to play as in the PS1 game Jedi Power Battles. The Wolffe Pack sport gray and white armor, and they all have sort of a wolf motif on their head as well as a wolf emblem on their shoulder. Underneath Wolffe's helmet, his face is rendered very realistically with Hasbro's patented face printing technology. He resembles actor Tamara Morrison, who portrayed the clones and Jango Fett and I guess Boba Fett, but not really. That was Daniel Logan or Jeremy Bullock. This is getting confusing. He resembles the actor very well. That's enough about the looks. Let's go ahead and take a look at his accessories. First of all, he does come with a removable helmet. That helmet is very well painted and rendered in 3D. It's got a lot of scuffs and scrapes. The viewfinder does move up and down, which is pretty neat. This is his Phase 2 helmet, which is different from the typical Phase 1 helmet, but also different from the end of the Clone Wars helmet he was wearing that had like a weird kind of hangy thing. It was in one of the later Season 6 episodes of the Clone Wars. What's interesting about Commander Wolffe's helmet is even though it's a Phase 2 helmet, it is different from the rest of the Phase 2 helmets. His mask is a little more flat in the front. It has kind of a mixture of his Phase 1 helmet, a little more in there than the rest of them, where the Phase 2 clone troopers look more like kind of traditional stormtrooper helmets. I don't really know how else to describe it, but it is different, and I wanted to point that out. On top of his removable helmet, he comes with the DC-17 hand blaster. It's the exact same blasters that came with Captain Rex, the handheld ones. Not the other two that were the standard issue clone trooper ones that came with the HasCon exclusive. Those are not present here, nor were they present in the retail release of Captain Rex. Also, the blasters fit pretty well into his holsters, which is, nice. One of the things I like best is that the holsters are attached to his side on his belt, not to his legs, so as not to hinder articulation. Speaking of which, let's take a look at articulation. Commander Wolffe's head moves side to side. It moves forward this far with the helmet on, back that far. The viewfinder moves up and down. The helmet comes off pretty easily. His regular head moves side to side very easily. Forward that far, back that far. His arm moves out a little bit, but it's hindered by the shoulder pauldron. It moves all the way around. There is an upper bicep swivel. It has a double hinged elbow, but it only bends at about the 90-degree angle. It is hindered by this piece right here. The wrist has a swivel as well as a hinge. This wrist is hinged this way. He has a diaphragm joint that swivels this way and moves this far forward and this far back. His leg moves this far forward and that far back. Decent spread. He has an upper thigh rotation, double jointed knees, ankle tilt, and a rocker. With this being Wolffe's widest stance with both his feet flat on the ground. The clone trooper body that Commander Wolffe is using is one of the most well-articulated bodies in the Black Series line. It has double jointed everything. It's got a really nice waist swivel, lots of head movement, shoulder movement, legs, nothing's hindered, which is uncommon, especially when you have sculpt to this magnitude. Lots of times armor gets in the way of the articulation. I'm looking at you, First Order Stormtrooper. And while his elbow articulation isn't great, it still only really has a kind of 90-degree turn because of the way it's molded. It's better than some of the other troopers because it does have that double hinged elbow. The only kind of drawback now is that he is lacking that newer point of articulation that's been coming with newer Black Series figures, the one that lets the head move like this. He doesn't have that. I was kind of hoping they could update this mold to include that, but they didn't, and I'm just going to have to be okay with it. Speaking of Sculpt, though, the Sculpt is top notch. For the most part, he's just a clone trooper, pretty much the exact same as the Captain Rex that was previously released, and that was one of my top figures of 2017. He is a little different in some places, so let's take a look at those. First of all, his helmet, which I've mentioned before, is different from Captain Rex's. It's not just a repaint, it's also a different mold. His head is obviously a different mold to match the Commander Wolffe look because he has that signature scar and dead eye. He also, unlike Captain Rex, has actual hair instead of like a blonde close shave. I don't know how else to describe whatever Captain Rex is wearing, but Commander Wolffe has got the full short crop military style do. The last bit of difference is his shoulders. He is lacking that ARC Trooper armor that Captain Rex has. He just has the normal shoulder pauldrons, but on his left side here, he does have that antenna that comes up, very similar to Commander Cody's. And it is screen accurate, which is super nice. The paint job on my figure is, for the most part, pretty laser detailed. Everything's very fine, very accurate. Although I will say, if you look super close on some of those smudges, you can tell with that new digital printing technology that it kind of looks printed. Like the details look like they are pixels when you get super close into there where it's starting to fade out. They're like dots rather than a brush stroke. From far away, it's really hard to tell, but when you get close, you can definitely see it. It's just kind of a trade-off, I guess, when you switch from hand painting to digital painting. I think it's a trade-off that I'm pretty comfortable with, honestly. It still looks really good from far away. It's not until you get super close that you can kind of see the details kind of fade away a little bit. The only place that Commander Wolffe's sculpt really lets me down, and I could have mentioned this a couple times, but I'm saving it for now, and that is his hands. And I should have actually said this in my Rex review, and I should have docked the Rex review a little bit. What bugs me about Commander Wolffe's hand is that he comes with dual blasters. This hand is sculpted to hold a blaster normally with the finger and the trigger. This hand is sculpted as if he's just holding something, which is fine if you're holding a two-handed weapon and this one holds the barrel or the stock or whatever. That's not how this guy works. He should have two hands to hold two guns that fit the gun properly. It's not like the worst thing in the world. It's not even that big of a mark off on the figure as a whole. But it is something that as I play with it, I've kind of realized that it really should have had that. It's a small, simple detail. They could have just remolded a hand so it's got a trigger finger. Not a big deal. It definitely doesn't stop me from wanting this figure. And boy, as soon as they announced it, I wanted it. But to be fair, I want every clone trooper. I don't care if they were on screen for 2 seconds. I don't care if they were never on screen. I want every clone trooper, especially if they have a name and a story. Commander Wolffe is a slam dunk. I would also like it if Hasbro gave us more multi-packs with troopers. What is a Commander Wolffe without a Wolffe pack to go behind him? On top of that, now that we have a Commander Wolffe, and if we get some more Wolffe packs, that also does mean that we need a Jedi Master Plo Koon, because someone's got to lead these guys, and he is one of my favorite looking Jedi. So as I mentioned at the beginning of my review, I got this from Canada, from Gord Phillips. He found this at EB Games, which if you're not familiar or if you're too young to really remember EB Games, GameStop bought EB Games, I don't know, like 10 or 12 years ago, and they're pretty much extinct here in the US for the most part. It's the opposite in Canada, and that's where he is an exclusive in Canada, is EB Games. So he found one there, shipped it to me because he knew I really wanted it. Thank you, Gord, from the bottom of my black heart. Chubby heart. From all reports I've read, you should be seeing this guy hit shelves soon, like within the next week or so. I've heard rumors of the 18th, the 24th, lots of different rumors. Keep an eye out on this. He is a GameStop exclusive in the US, but he's also a Disney store / Disney park and Barnes & Noble exclusive, which really isn't that exclusive. When he's exclusive to more than one retailer, that kind of defeats the exclusivity. I think the only stores you can't find him in are Walmart and Target, and Toys R Us, but they're not even a thing anymore anyway. But I'm not really complaining either because I hate exclusives, and the more places you can get it, the better. So where does that leave me with my final score on this? In reality, he's probably more of a 4.75 out of 5. He is a very good figure. He's well sculpted, well detailed. Could he have come with more accessories? Sure. More guns, more hands, all of that stuff. But I'm not going to nitpick that too much. He is kind of just a repaint of Captain Rex, but there's enough on here where he's clearly his own, and they didn't skimp it. They put the details in here where the details matter to make him Commander Wolffe, which is fantastic. In the end, I'm super happy I have him on my shelves. He looks great next to the rest of my Clone Troopers. And I think that if you like the Clone Troopers and the Clone Wars cartoon, this guy is going to be a pretty easy buy for you. If not, you could probably skip it. But for me, I'm hungry like the wolf. So that's it for my review of Commander Wolffe. What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Have you found him yet? Have you not found him? Do you plan on finding him? Do you want to find it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. I love to read those and respond. Go ahead and give me a like or a dislike, share, subscribe, all of that normal stuff that people say at the end of YouTube videos. There's also a couple of ways in the downstairs area in the description that you can support my channel if you want to. But that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.